We made it. That was a little hairy. I installed in my software here the plugin that lets me stream to two places, the official thing over there, and I had a little trouble with it. Obviously didn't set it right, so I had to scramble there a little bit at the beginning. I'm streaming simultaneously on YouTube and on Twitch. The only thing I don't have going right now is the cross-mogenation of the comments. So over on Twitch, I've got Heather's Diamond Painting. Hello over there. And everybody on YouTube, Liza, Dwayne, Tom, hello. If I missed anybody, I'm sorry. So here we go. This is, whoops, I'm off center here. This is the last Wednesday of the month, so this is a challenge painting, and I've chosen that and Iris up there. Somebody suggested it. I don't remember who it was. You all will remember better than I do. But I don't always think I do flowers all that well. So I'm going to take up the challenge, and this one's going to turn out really well. But before we start with this, and I'll tell you the paper and the brushes and all that stuff, I thought what we would do is we would mix some colors up first to kind of see what we've got, what we're looking at. Right? It's kind of a light purpley, lavendery color. So I want to start and find the only purple I have on my palette, which is Cobalt Violet. I thought I would start this way. I thought this would be a nice way to start. All right, here's my Cobalt Violet. Let's just get a nice wash of this Cobalt Violet here so we can see what this looks like. And we'll pull this out. Get a nice long graded wash of this. There we go. There's some Cobalt Violet. Then I'm going to do some mixing. Okay, and we're gonna mix our primary color. On this side is going to be alizarin crimson, and on this side it's going to be Pyrrol Red. So I thought we'll be able to find out what makes the best purple color. If we got a purple that's better than this Cobalt Violet for what we're painting. So let's give it a shot. So the first one I'm going to mix is alizarin crimson and Cobalt Blue. Right, so let me grab some of that Cobalt Blue and see what we can do. This might not be quite as strong. I don't have quite as much mixed up, but I think we can figure this out. Now, to me, probably because that alizarin crimson is a strong color. This comes off a little bit more red than that Cobalt Violet. There you go, you can see that. And I suspect that's going to grain up a little bit. A little bit, probably not too much. I'm looking, hold on now. I'm looking at my metrics. And it looks like my feed over on Twitch has become slightly unstable. I don't really want that to happen. But we'll deal with it. Okay, so this is going to be alizarin crimson and cerulean here, which I know is going to be a lovely color. Let's pull this out and take a look at this. So I hope that we just passed Memorial Day. I'm just going to blather on about a few things while we do a little bit more. Alan is here. Hello, Alan. You haven't been here in a while. I need a rose color. I have Quiacridone Rose. We can mix up a little Quiacridone Rose with some of this too, if we want. That's a good idea. Let me get, these colors are muddied now a little bit. Let's get those out of here. Let's go alizarin crimson and a little phthalo blue. You all know I love phthalo blue. Phthalo blue is this one. Woo! These are two strong colors. Strong colors. Let's see what this one looks like. This is a stronger color, I can tell you that right off the top. Ooh, let's draw this out so we can see what this looks like. Now, this isn't going to be the best or the perfect graded wash here, but that's okay. Liza says, I just cannot be friends with alizarin crimson. Come on. Alizarin crimson wants to be your friend. And I'm going to go up here to my favorite blue on my palette, which is, I'm going to make this a little stronger, which is turquoise. Ooh, look at this. And this is a beautiful color. Whoop, come on, get off of there. Let's see what we got here. This one I might have goofed up my sample here a little bit, but I think we'll get the idea of this color. Yeah, this needed to be stronger over here in the corner and then pull it out. I was got a little damp and a little loosey-goosey on that one. Okay, so we've got a few colors here. Let's clean this off again. And let's take a look at, you know what I want to do? I want to move my painting or my drawing off to the side over here. So now I'm going to do the same thing again with what did I say? Pyrrol Red. Let's get a little puddle of Pyrrol Red going. Pyrrol Red, for anybody who's not familiar, everybody's familiar with alizarin crimson, a big, powerful, bold red. Not everybody is as familiar with Pyrrol Red. But Pyrrol Red is what I always consider like fire engine red, right? It is a fiery, bright red. It's a lovely color, but like the alizarin, it can be overpowering just in a slightly different way. Oh, I know what I was going to say before I so rudely cut myself off, is I hope everybody, I'm doing the same thing here, but with cerulean. I hope everybody had a good Memorial Day. We're able to spend some time with your family, doing some fun things, maybe getting out, doing some grilling, paying your respects to those who served. It was a wonderful way to spend the Memorial Day. I and my family, I guess really we did it on Sunday, but it was our Memorial Day thing to do was we went to a farm and tractor show, which was fantastic. I love seeing all of the old equipment, construction equipment, farm equipment, and whatnot. And some of it's so old, it's so used. And I was thinking about it. It's kind of the stuff that built America, right? It's some of the equipment that probably forged roads and build bridges and underpasses, tunnels, that's what I'm trying to say, in the West. Like old steam shovels and old bulldozers from the turn of last century. Let's see, Liza says, Susie, sadly I have too many tubes of it, meaning alizarin crimson. I try it off and on to play and then it just doesn't work for me. It's like the Phthalo Blues. You really got to make friends with it. Once you make friends with it, it's a lovely color. Okay, so here we go. Here are the what is this? 8. Here are the 8 that I wanted to look at, and we can sneak one with Quiacridone Rose in here. Look at that Quiacridone Rose. It is a beautiful color. Let's do a little cerulean with that. It should make a really light purplish color. Oh, look at how bright. Look at how bright that is. And let's do a little bit with turquoise too on this one. Let's see what that does. I know this Quiacridone will make a bright color. Woo, look at that. That's like if I was doing a, maybe that's got a little bit more of the Quiacridone in there. We can tone that down a little bit. If I were doing a what's the one I did? What's the plant I did a while ago? I did a what's the plant show I went to? Oh my gosh, I can't think of it. If I were going to do, come on, it grows up like this and around. You buy them at the grocery store. Oh my gosh. I don't know. An orchid. If I were going to do an orchid, I would use one of these two colors. These look really bright orchidy colors to me with the Quiacridones. Okay. So now our colors have dried a little bit. We can see what's a little lighter, what's a little darker. Maybe we do need to move into some of these as they dry. I'll kind of hold them up in the corner and you can see how they match our color over there. But as I'm looking at this, right, I'm going to clean this up a little bit. As I'm looking at this, I can tell you the ones I definitely don't like. Okay? Whoop. The ones I don't like because they seem a little dark, a little dull to me. And I'm a little surprised on both. I'm not liking the Phthalo with the Pyrrol Red. Actually, now that I look at it, it's not that bad. I mean, maybe I take that off. Okay, see, this is the problem. I'm gonna take a second look, and then I'm gonna like all of them. Susie says, Liza, Da Vinci's alizarin crimson is made with PV19. It's sort of a pinker. Maybe she's trying to let her PV19. Let's see. This is M. Graham paint, and my alizarin crimson is PR264. PR264. Now, I did find my M. Graham color book. You say it's PV19. I wonder if there's a PV19. Look. So this is PV19 right here. It's Quiacridone Violet. And this one here, we're talking this one and this one are the two that we're talking about. That one right here is PV19, and this one's PR83. Why do I have it written down differently? I'm sorry. That's alizarin crimson. Okay, so hold on a minute. That one's alizarin crimson. Alizarin crimson is fugitive, so you'll never use that. What I'm using is permanent alizarin crimson, which is PR264. So it's this one way out here. Okay, and that one. And so you can see it is pinker. You're exactly right. There's a pinky-ish, magenta-y-ish hue to this one. Good call. Good call. If I knew what I was talking about as I was doing it, I'd be able to say it more clearly. Yep, Quiacridone Violet. There you go. Yeah. I tend to always use Sennelier Opera Rose or Daniel Smith Rhodonite Genuine. I don't know. I don't have a Daniel Smith or a Sennelier color chart. Okay, but back to this. Actually, now, look, as this one has dried, I actually like this one more. This was Quiacridone Rose, and what did I do with this one? Cobalt. And this one is Quiacridone Rose and Turquoise. These are lovely light colors. I think they're too light for this maybe. Maybe this one, I don't know. But I'm looking at these. Wow. Do we go with the Quiacridone, or I'm sorry, the Cobalt Violet? I like the Cobalt Violet. These alizarin crimson ones seem a little dark to me. I'm not surprised. These ones seem lighter. All of these ones over here seem a little lighter to me. I could make any of these work. I like the Pyrrol with the turquoise. I think that's a lovely color. It doesn't necessarily match the purple that's over there, but I think this is a lovely color. I also like the Cobalt and Pyrrol Red. I like that one. Liza says I like that one too. Okay. Liza, you're gonna help me out. You're gonna have to help me. Are you going to use a yellow on the petals? I am going to use a little yellow for the beard that's on a little bit of them. I'm going to try to reserve a little bit of white space there too. Yeah, I think this is too... I think we could get away with this. That's too pinky. I think we could do this. If we wanted to do a really light one, we could get away... let's do this one. All right, who suggested that? I got to scroll up now. Alan suggested this. A Quiacridone Rose. Okay, I think I'm gonna go. It's gonna be a pinky kind of a thing. We can add a little bit more. If you look right in this area up here, it's a little light purple, very vibrant. I'm gonna try this, and if we need to kind of bring it down a little bit, then we'll add just a little bit more of that turquoise in there. Let's see. Dwayne says you like the Quiacridone Rose and Cobalt, Dwayne. Okay. Yellow next to it will brighten the purple. That's going to use it. That's true. Sherry's here. Hello, Sherry. Okay, let's do this. Let's take a vote. I'm going to put up a poll. Oh, if I can remember. I'm going to put up a poll. Okay. Oh, this is going to take a second. See, I didn't plan on doing this. QR and what? Cobalt. I can't spell. Or QR and turquoise. I've ever spelled turquoise. So this is a vote for Cobalt and a vote for turquoise. Start the poll. Okay, if anybody can do this. Or you know what? If you just want to throw something out in chat, that's cool too. I'll be able to see that. I don't do too many polls. One, because I hate typing in front of people. I do it at work for half the day. It's nerve-wracking, but it's fun. Let's see. Heather is here. Hello, Heather. Welcome. We're just in the middle of a poll. Susie says, Liza, I'm sure others in this chat know more. They're just quiet. Oh, I'm sure everybody knows a lot here. So I'm taking a poll. I'm going to let it go for about another minute. If we're deciding what color to paint that, whether we should go with this one up top, which is Quiacridone Rose and Turquoise, or the one on the bottom here, which is Quiacridone Rose and Cobalt. So you can choose one of the two up there, and if I've done it properly, we'll be able to see at the end. Or if you don't want to take the poll, you just want to throw it in chat, that's fine too. We can add that in. I'm pretty sure I can do some regular math. Math is something I'm usually able to do, and since there's only a dozen people, 14 people here, I think I can do the adding up in my head. Okay, I'm gonna give it to the end of this minute, and then we'll close it up. It looks like we're pretty close. We're probably 1 or 2 votes away. I don't know how many people are here. Yeah, Heather, was it your idea? A rose and cobalt. Sue says rose and cobalt. Alan says you feel like turquoise is a better match. And there we go. Let's see. I'm going to end the poll. And 7 votes. 7 votes. So turquoise and Quiacridone Rose is up. That's probably 1 vote. I feel like turquoise. Alan's throwing a turquoise in there. All right, let's do turquoise and Quiacridone Rose. And where'd I put my thing? Okay, cool. Let's do that. That's going to give us a lovely color. So here's my drawing. I'm going to do this down here. So this little guy on the side here, I just kind of ignored that and just did the main iris here. It's got a little friend hanging off the side. We're going to paint that too. I did paint in some of the beard here, and I am going to leave that white, and we'll come back and we'll put some yellow highlights on that. Hoping to get some nice greens in here as it comes down inside the blossom here. I'm hoping to get a nice a brown umber, maybe a ochre color in there. Darvoid66, hello, welcome. Kenya, welcome. Heather is saying, no, your first time you just found this on YouTube. Well, welcome. I'm glad you found me. It's a pretty nice group here. And I usually try to be pretty nice. If you have any questions about anything, just throw it out there. I love answering questions. Part of the reason I do this is because I really do like answering questions and being in the group. And we said turquoise, right? So if you want to ask any questions about me or my art or how I started this or what my journey was, I'm happy to answer any or all of those questions. They're all fair game to me. Throw them out there. I always tell everybody I don't have a whole lot of a filter. I don't get vulgar or anything like that, but I'm willing to answer just about anything. It doesn't matter to me. We're all on a journey here, and we want to get a little better with what we're doing. Why am I doing one little piece at a time? All right, I'm going to continue this. Sometimes I do this. I'll paint one little area at a time. I just feel like I have a little better control. If I paint this one little area and then I paint the next area, sometimes that gets me in trouble, but we're going to go with it tonight. So this is a petal that's way in the back. It's going to be a little darker than the other areas, but I just want to put some light color on it. And we've got another one that's over here too. This guy's flying out the back a little bit. Just back there. And I've got to leave a little bit of area here, a little color around that beard. So anybody who's new, I'm going to look up now. Anybody who's new, I love to talk about, please don't be shy. I love to talk about color. I'll talk about brushes. I'll talk about the paints that I have, the paper that I use. Oh, the paper I'm using today, I should say, it's not from this pack, but this is the same paper as my Fabriano Studio watercolor paper. I've got kind of a big block of it here. So that's the paper I'm using. And if you ask, there you go, Liza, right on time. And if you ask, lots of times, I will kind of break out and get into a demonstration about something completely different. You know, sometimes we talk about something that's interesting, and I'm like, oh, let's give that a try, or let's take a look at that, or let's see how that would work. And we just jump into something completely different. It's a great way to do some learning or to gain some understanding of some things, and I'm willing to jump in because I'm usually just as curious about stuff as you all are. So don't be shy about asking questions. And if you don't ask questions, then I'm just going to talk for the whole time, and I know that you all don't want to hear that. You'll hear stories about my chickens, you'll hear stories about my cats, you'll hear stories about my work. Whatever it is I think I can come up with to talk about for, this usually takes about an hour and a half to an hour 40 minutes, something like that, whatever it is. I'll just lead the discussion, talk about whatever it is, and we'll go from there. Or, like I said, I love answering questions. What I'm doing is I'm just trying to find where there's a little bit different colors. I'm going to drop those on. And yes, we're going to have to come back and strengthen these. I'm totally fine with that. It doesn't bother me that this might get painted over a little bit. We might not see it in the end, but that's okay. I just want to mark out that we're going to use some of this color here. And I think we got a little bit up here. This is where this plant is just getting a little dry. Right, it could use a little help here and there. Something like that. Liza, you said you like my stories. How long have I been painting watercolors? So that's a great question. And here's my great answer for you. So I started painting watercolors on a whim for no particular reason, probably in 2002, 2001, sometime around there. And I didn't go to art school. I didn't have any real passion for painting watercolors or anything. I had the idea that because I sit in front of a computer screen all day, it probably would do me good to do something non-digital, right? Do something to tear me away from a screen. I had a cell phone at the time, so I was probably looking at a cell phone, right? It was a little Nokia, and it wasn't anything like the smartphones we use today. Although I did have a Palm Pilot at the time too. That's neither here nor there. So I was working at Long Beach State University in Long Beach, California at the time. And like I said, I was looking for a way to digitalize or undigitalize my life. And I got the harebrained idea, and I think this started after watching Frank Clark do some painting on PBS. I like Frank, and I've always been a big Bob Ross fan. I grew up watching Bob Ross, so for me, doing some kind of painting seemed like a kind of a natural thing to do. Cool. I'll just pick up watercolor painting. We have an art center on campus. I walked over to the art center, and it was during the summertime. There were no students around. I walked in and went, I have no idea how to paint anything, but I want to take up watercolor painting. Can you help me? And the guy kind of looked at me a little funny and went, yeah, sure. Yeah, I can help you out. And he got me set up with, a basic set of paints and a couple of paintbrushes. I still have a couple of the paintbrushes over here, I'm happy to say. I haven't gotten rid of all my original stuff. I don't have any of the original paint. I don't have any of the original paper, of course, but a few things hanging around. And I have Bob Ross VHS. So when I would get home at night, I would start to paint, and I had these little notebooks, and I would paint these little tiny pictures, about yay big, whatever. And for whatever reason, it just kind of stuck with me, and I enjoyed doing it. Well, I don't know how many years later, a few years later, I met my wife, who is an actual artist. She went to art school to do art, studio, or not studio art, what do you call it? Art that gets displayed in a gallery art, there you go. All right, highfalutin gallery art type stuff. And I foolishly left my book out on the dining room table one day, and she picked it up and started looking at it, and she went, hey, you know what, this stuff isn't so bad. You should probably stay with it and keep doing this. And I kind of went, yeah, okay. And for the next 4 or 5 years, I kind of kept going with it. But never, I don't think I really progressed all that much. And then at some point, let's see, this is Quiacridone Rose and Turquoise. At some point, I know what the turning point was. We have a little thing here in town called Art in the Park, right? Art in the Park. And we just had Art in the Park here. Art in the Park happens on Memorial Day weekend, 4th of July weekend, Labor Day weekend. You can rent a booth, and you can come to our park, and you can sell your wares, and the crowds gather, and everybody hoos and haws. Well, I think the first year we were living where we're at now, we went to Art in the Park, and, we walked through, and my wife was a little less than enthused with some of it because it's more crafty than it is art-y, which was fine. I was like, whatever, it doesn't bother me. And we went past a few stations of things, and I went, I can do that. I can do that. I can do that. And I think my wife kind of got a little fed up and went, listen, either put up or shut up. Either do it and be done with it, or just stop talking about it. And I kind of went, okay, I'm just going to do it. And so that was 2006, 2007. That's what really kind of kicked my art into a higher gear. And from then on, I started doing more and more and more. I would take an art set to work with me, and I would do it during my lunch hour. I had a little studio set up in my office at work, and people would come past and watch me work from time to time, or watch me paint. To this day, if you walk through, the offices where I used to work, you can see, I don't know, there are probably 30 or 40 paintings of mine hanging in the hallways. And I just kept with it. I had a friend a woman who later became a friend, contacted me on old social media, I think. I don't remember what it was. And she was like, hey, have you ever considered painting, online? Go on YouTube and do some painting. And I was like, yeah, I don't know. And she kind of goaded me into doing it. And my first videos were horrible. They were terrible. That's okay. They were partially bad because, I just wasn't as good a painter at the time, and partially bad because I had no idea about video production. And I just slowly started doing more and more, and I think I got a little better and a little better, and I eventually started watching YouTube on my own and figuring things out. And at this point, I don't even watch YouTube for painting videos. Well, maybe every now and again I do, not much. But that's basically the story of how I started painting and why I started painting and how long I've been painting. And I hope that answers your question. Heather, you say I'm a photographer, but I'm teaching myself watercolors. So if you can do photography, you'll be fine in watercolors. My humble opinion. Well, let me rephrase that. If you do digital photography, it might be a little different, because my feeling, and I'm not a photographer, I haven't done photography in a long time, but I did have a friend who taught photography, and he was always sad because photography has changed now. It's not the photography that people do now is not the photography that people used to do. Right? And what do I mean by that? The photography that you used to do is you used to figure out what your aperture was and what your film speed was, and you would set so many things manually, and you would click 2 or 3 pictures of any one thing, and you kind of had to be on your game to make things work right or look right. And that's not how people take pictures now. Now people are much more apt to shoot, because it's all digital, 40 or 50 pictures of something and fix things in post, and you're not worried about posing things the same way that you used to be, because you're going to take more pictures. And so if you've learned the old school analog, 35 millimeter photography, you'll probably be just fine with watercolor paintings, because you understand composition, you understand lighting a little bit more. If you just do, modern style photography where you're shoot, it might be a little tougher for you. You can still do it. Did I miss anything? I'm sure I missed a lot. Did I miss any questions? Liza says, it's the most challenging medium, but I've never bored. It's challenging from time to time, for sure. But it's when you end up with a picture that you can't stop looking at, you're just like, oh, this is fantastic. And you can't do some of this with any other medium. Liza says, I've watched for years, and it's been fun to watch the growth. Yeah, I've gotten... my first few videos were admittedly a little sketch, and there have been a number of big bloopers along the way, and that's fine. But I think I've gotten much better over the years. Thank you, Liza. I've probably gotten much more gracious over the years too. I hate to say that, but I'm sure it's true. Okay, so now, right, these petals are, for the most part, dry. And I can start coming in and I can start adding some depth to them. And I'm going to do this, I'm going to try, I say this every week, I'm going to try and keep my layers really light. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. It's okay on either side of that. But we can start adding a little bit of growth, or a little bit of depth here, right? Where does this flower get a little darker? Where does it get a little lighter? How can we show that there's a little lilt in this flower? The best way I know to do that is put on a little bit of color and then soften the edge where you want that color to stop. Right there. And with this paper, this is only part cotton. You got to watch it a little bit more than maybe you have to with full cotton paper. I'm going to mix up a little bit more. I'm going to purposely try and keep my colors light over here. Whoa, I say that as I get a big blob of blue. I'm going to try to keep my colors light, knowing that from time to time when I let them get a little darker, then I start putting on darker colors, and I don't want to put on really dark colors. I want to keep this fairly light. I want this to be like gossamer, right? Right. When I saw this flower, I saw this iris, I looked at it and I went, that is such a, it looks, I know iris aren't you know, just like the most delicate, dainty little thing in the garden. They're pretty hardy, but it looks like this dainty little flower. So I want to be able to paint this as something that's, you know, a little, what am I trying to say? A little more delicate. It looks a little bit more delicate. It feels a little bit more delicate. Heather, so I hope that answered your question. If it didn't, let me know. I'll give it another shot. But I think that probably came close to answering your question. At least I hope it did. Let's see, I'm going to put a little color right on down here like this. And again, I just want to look to see where this color needs to go. I'm going to put it on really light at the moment. I'm going to dab my brush off, get most of that moisture off of there, and then soften that edge. It did. Okay, good. And I'm gonna say this to Heather, as you're watching, right? You're gonna see how I do it, and I don't always do things exactly the same from week to week. Lots of the times I do them the same. If you don't paint the way I do, that's cool. There's, you know, as in anything else, there's a million ways to do things, and I got hung up in painting early on, trying to only replicate what others did. So I don't like when other people fall into that trap. So I'm going to say, if you're learning and you see that I'm doing something cool, awesome. Don't try to necessarily replicate what I do. Try to work some of what I do into your style and kind of make it your own. I think my growth as a watercolor artist really was stunted for 4, 5, 6 years as I tried to imitate other people's styles. And I'm like, oh man, I gotta paint this way because so and so painted it this way, or I gotta do this that way because so and so painted it that way, and I want my stuff to look like theirs. And what I learned was, I can paint my stuff my way and maybe just try to incorporate some of what that other person does, and it's going to look almost the same. And plus, now I'm developing my own personal style, and that to me is kind of a cool thing. Cool. Okay, so cool. You're always learning new things and watching a bunch of artists. So I'm just curious. Who are some of the artists that you've been watching, or who are you trying to pick up from? I ask as I'm glaring up here to try to see what I need to do, what my next move is, and I'm going to darken a little bit more of this one up here, just on the inside up here, just that little bit. I really want this to stand out from the other one. I don't know what kind of watercolor artist you want to be, but I can tell you who I really think is really cool. There are a couple of guys I could tell you right off the top of my head that I really think are cool. They don't necessarily paint in the same style, but man, do they paint some cool stuff. Ozzy, your question is, how does one find their own style? So, again, Liza, I'm going to ask you to stop asking the tough questions. No. So that's a great question. I think a lot of it is, there's a bit of it that is study of others. There is. But there's also a bit of it of doing the things you like, right? I like doing these graded washes. I love doing a graded wash. There's nothing more I like than doing a graded wash. But I know I have some friends who go, graded washes are horrible. I hate them. I only want to do flat washes. Cool, you want to do flat washes. My style is not going to look anything like that other person's style. So we could both look at Angela, there you go. We could both look at Angela Fair's stuff. We could try to replicate Angela Fair's stuff. Mine would look drastically different because I would have like these different variations in tone in mine, and my friend would have different variations in color in his more than tone because I'm going dark next to light and he's going, let's say, green next to red, right? We're painting the same image, but just with a little different style. Jenna Ramey, cool, okay, yeah, I like her. Emma Lefebvre, I can't spell the last name, that's fine. Cool. Liza went from Angela Fair, currently even Criminal Trent and Debbie Walker, Ellen Creamy Trent, that was, okay. Let's see, Kenya says, I find that every time I try to imitate someone else, my own kind of meticulous style takes over without my intention. Yes, your body is going to tell you some of what your own style is, and it's going to want to move you in a direction. You could pull from somebody else, but it's all your body is going to tell you. Your brain is going to tell you what your style kind of is, and you've got to be willing to listen to that and to go with it a little bit. I make a lot of mud. So two of the guys, well, there are four guys I really like. Four people I really like, right? And you can check them out, and if you like them too, awesome. If you don't ever turn them on again. So my all-time favorite, probably all-time favorite watercolor artist is Alvaro Castagnet. Alvaro is unbelievable, and he's a loose painter, loose style. He's an impressionist, right? So you're not going to get tight figures and whatnot when you watch him. But he's able to, in that impressionist style, I mean, that is the impressionist style, right? Is just to give you the feeling of something, right? He very much sets the tone of a painting and doesn't sweat the details in it. Okay. The other guy I really like is, so Alvaro, big, one of the top watercolor painters in the world right now. One of the top guys. He's got his own paints. He's got his own brushes. He tours the world. Wonderful, unbelievably talented artist. Alvaro Castagnet. Another guy that I really like, also similar style, not quite as good, in my opinion, take that for what it's worth, but still some really good stuff, is Tim Wilmot. Okay, and the difference really is Tim's stuff will sell for, $5,000 a painting, and Alvaro's will sell for $50,000 a painting. They both paint in a similar impressionistic style, and they both are absolutely fantastic. Absolutely fantastic. Another guy I really like is Andy Everson, and Andy's mostly an impressionist. He leans more towards Impressionist, but he does some other stuff too. And he, let's see, I'm going to come back. Is this dry? This is dry. Just going to add another layer on here. Andy Everson. What was I going to say about Andy now? Andy's fantastic. Also somewhat impressionistic, not nearly as much as the other two, but still impressionistic. Andy happens to be an American. Let's see, Tim Wilmot is British, and Alvaro is Argentinian, I think he is. And the last guy I like, and he's different than the other two, and he's interesting because he seemingly tries to paint with as many paint strokes as possible. And the other ones don't necessarily, and that's a weird thing when you realize how many paint strokes he does. Is Gary? Oh no, I just had it and I forgot it. Oh no. Oh, I don't like this. I might have to go onto YouTube and check real quick. Gary Tucker. Gary Tucker? I think it's Gary Tucker. I think it's Gary Tucker. I'm gonna have to look and find out. But he's one that's all about light and dark and contrast, and he typically doesn't start with a pencil drawing, and will draw and draw and draw as he's painting. He draws with his brush while he's painting, and as a result, he does thousands of brush strokes as he's painting, and it's unbelievable to watch. Okay, now you guys have all been saying stuff, and I'm going to stop and read for just a minute. But I'm trying to develop some interest on some of these petals here, right? So we got a little light and dark. You can almost see, right? There's a little ridge that comes in here. Maybe this needs to extend up just a little bit. But as you're looking at this, you can see maybe there's a little ridge here, right, that extends up. I want to keep the light. I want to keep the light that's in here. There's a little bit of something that comes up this way. And there's a little dark here and a little light around it. This little bit's got some light shining on it. I do need to darken this. You can see a little dark and a little light here. I love the interplay of dark and light, dark and light, dark and light. Oh my gosh. So I have to say, I can't see some of these. I can't see some of the comments. I have things a little bit smaller. Oh, I got another chat over on Twitch. I'm sorry, Twitch people. Noisy good night. Oh yeah, it's an ad. All right, never mind. Never mind. Let's see how I get rid of that person. It doesn't matter. Eliza says, Michael, this would be really lovely of a wonderful start. I have a good start. It's a start. That's all it is. It's a start. It's gonna get there. It's gonna look nice. I want to keep these really light lines. I want this to be super delicate when I'm done with it. Right? I don't want a bunch of colors mudding up. I don't want to get heavy. I'm purposely trying not to get too heavy with this. Purposely trying not to get too heavy. Let's see, I think right here there should be a little indentation. You made a list of all those artists. Thank you. You're certainly welcome. You're certainly welcome. And like I said, take a look at those. If that's something you like and you think you can incorporate into a painting, awesome. If you can't, ignore it. You're the artist. You're the one learning. You want to do everything in your control. Here's the one I did in their style. Right? How long ago did I do this? 3 weeks ago? 4 weeks? A month ago? Was this last month? Yeah, this was April. This was rain. This was my rain challenge painting. Very loose. Hard time doing it, right? Look, it looks a bit of a mess. It's kind of an interesting look, but it's a bit of a mess. They're so much better at it. And then you look at this, and it's so delicate in a couple of these places. It's going to be so nice. All right, this is wet. I'm going to leave that be for just a second. Gary Tucker. Yeah, Gary Tucker. I like Gary Tucker. Yeah, but take a look at those guys. They're pretty good. Heather, what would you like to paint? The answer is, well, perfectly, outstandingly. Oh, wait, that's how I want to paint. Someday I'll get there. Someday I'll get there. Landscape and florals. Okay, cool. So Jenna is good at florals. Who does landscapes? Are you, so, Heather, are you trying to paint in a more realist style or a looser style? Or where do you want to end up, or where do you think you will end up? Sometimes that's just as an important question, is where you think you're going to end up. Very difficult subjects. Remember now, it's watercolors. There's a challenge to it, regardless of what the subject is, because there's so many variables, right? There's water, right? There's paint. There's an intensity. There's the amount of water on your brush. There's the amount of water on the page. The humidity in the air. All of these things. Which brush you use. How much water your brush holds. Yeah. Oh, Heather, that's a great question. Let's talk brushes. I love brushes. I have been called, not incorrectly, a brush snob. Loose style is what you like. Okay, cool. Cool. Would you say loose impressionist or loose, just loose, what am I trying to say? What am I trying to say? There's a difference between just painting in a loose style and painting in other styles that are not nearly as tight. And I'm trying to figure out how I say that properly. And I'm not sure I got it. Leron. Oh yeah, Leron's good. I can't stand that he doesn't clean his palette. It bothers me. Charles Evans paints in a loose style, not necessarily impressionistic. Or Charles Reed, him too. Both Charleses. I guess, yeah, I guess. Both Charleses. Okay, we're starting to develop. Oh, I don't want this to run. I don't want to get a back run here. We're starting to get a little bit of coolness going here. Let's throw all these greens in together. I've got 3-4 greens on here. I've got Cobalt Green. I've got Phthalo Green, my favorite green. I've got this olive green. Is that olive green? It's olive green on here. I mix them all together. It makes a lovely kind of a green. If I need to lighten it, I just throw a little bit of that Gamboge in there. Gamboge, which I also really like. Oh, hang on, I'm going to sneeze. Oh, excuse me. Holy cow. A loose style. I used to try to paint in a loose style, and I do really enjoy trying to loosen up a little bit in my paintings, and take this for what it's worth, right? You can paint in a loose style and still have something that's relatively realistic, like what I do, right? I'm gonna have all my looseness be confined in this one area because I still want to be a little bit of a control freak. Right? All of my looseness is going to be combined here. All of my looseness is going to be combined here rather than do the whole thing all at once. Uh-oh, looks like I'm losing some internet speed here. If something happens to the feed, I'm sorry, all of a sudden I just got a big pop-up that said, check your internet connection. I suspect my children may be doing something in the house. But we're going to make something that looks rather nice here. Give me a little bit of this yellow on here. Let's brighten this up a little bit. Very nice, very nice. A little darker there, a little darker here. I think Gene Haynes, Dwayne says, yep, Gene Haynes. Heather, I can't think of her name, but I follow someone from Scotland that paints loose landscapes. Someone from Scotland, I'm trying to think. I don't know. If you ever I do know that if you ever watch Louise Demasi, is that her name? She's an Australian, I believe, painter. Do yourself a favor and hang around after the video and watch the credits. She usually puts outtakes in her videos, and she is absolutely hysterical. You wouldn't think so by watching her or listening to her. She has this really little voice. It's just so calming and gentle, and then at the end she's got this blooper reel that's just absolutely hysterical. Natalie made it! Hello, Natalie! Thank you for joining. Thank you. I'm trying to get somewhere on this. Paint something that looks really nice. An iris that looks pretty nice. I need to bring this dark up a little bit. This is a little darker over here. This ran away when I got it a little too wet. I don't know, something like this. Something like this. Give me a little bit of this burnt umber, a little bit of burnt umber, a little bit of ochre in there. And look, we've got this lovely leaf right there all of a sudden. That's fantastic. That didn't take long. And I'm not really stalling at the moment. Sometimes I will stall just a bit as I'm trying to figure out what to paint something else. I'm not here. 20 folks in here. Yes. Sarah Burns. Oh, there you go. Sarah Burns. Yeah. Kenny says learning plate form. Interesting. Wait. Natalie says you can't get the hang of start time since I changed. I haven't changed. I swear. 7. Oh, you're in Arizona. I didn't change. Daylight savings times changed. That's what changed. And you don't have daylight savings time. So, of course, yes, that's it. I did change. I did. I'm sorry. I'll write to the Congress and see if they can finally get that taken care of, which would really be nice. Sarah Burns is into gouache. Gouache. I love when people pronounce it gouache. I don't know if it's really gouache or if it's gouache. I love when people pronounce it gouache. Okay, looks like my feed is a little intermittent again. Dwayne says, this is making me... Natalie said, yeah, I'm in Arizona. We don't mess with that stuff. Yes. Dwayne says, it's making me want to paint an iris, but yours would be a mess. I'm certain that it would not be a mess. Just a little brown around the edges here. I didn't want to forget that. You know, this one's been hatched for a little while. It's gotten just a bit brown. I think that's lovely. I think that's going to look good. I think that's really going to look good. So, Dwayne, you said we got 20 people here. That's fantastic. I got a couple of people over on Twitch. Twitch people, hello. I love my Twitch people. I wish I could do more on Twitch, but circumstances dictate that right now anyways that I don't have enough time. But that's okay. Your feed is stopping. Okay. I'm back. Yeah. Okay, I'm going to apologize. I don't know what's going on with my internet. It's funny because I can watch my numbers on the outbound, right? I use OBS video encoder to pack up my video and send it out to you all. And it tells me how many, it tells me what my connection rate is and how I'm doing. And it also gives me a visual indication of how I'm doing. So just like your cell phone has a few bars on it, I've got some bars down there. And it's curious that the numbers haven't changed, but the bar rating has. I don't know what that. I don't have any idea what that means. I'm not suggesting anything. It's just that just one of those weird things. All right, cool. There we go. I think that looks good. Oh, that's a dandy looking leaf right there. Look at that. These two I think look fantastic. I think they're really nice. Or they will be as soon as I touch up that little bit right there. Almost no water. Almost no water. There we go. Oh, yes. Look at these two. Look fantastic. These two look better. These two look better than my iris. What am I going to do about that? That's not good. Let's see. I also watch Painting with Shibasaki. Yes. He's a Japanese guy. Yeah, he doesn't speak any English, but he is fantastic. He is the grandfather of watercolors in Japan. Apparently, he's been teaching watercolors. And you know what's cool is not necessarily traditional Japanese watercolors, but he's been teaching watercolors in Japan for like 60 years or something like that. And he doesn't need to say anything because he's that good at what he does. He really is good. Yeah, he's a good one. Am I gone again? Am I gone? I don't want to be gone. I want to stay here. Let's see, there's a little bit of brown schmutza in here. Something like that, I think. Trying to look to see what's going to make this the best of all. Let's see, this is going to have a line right in here. Right, that goes a little deep pocket right there, I think. The stems are gorgeous, right? If only the plant could look, if only the leaves could look as good as the stems. So what you're suggesting is that maybe I'm not spending my time in the proper place as I'm doing this. Oh, and that didn't work out. That did not work out at all. I need to step down a slightly smaller brush size. And before I get back to this, I need to step away from that. Obviously, it was slightly damp. Okay, I can do this one. If it's slightly damp, it's going to really not work out well. But I think this one, let's see, let's make this one back behind. This one will work out. So I will say, if I'm sitting down on a Saturday afternoon, a lazy Saturday afternoon, and I'm looking for something to do, and I'm painting some watercolors, this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to find something like this, and I'm going to blend some colors. Right, I'm going to make something that looks cool. It's got some real depth to it, and this would take me. Well, where are we at? Are we in an hour? Where's my time? Oh, wow, we're at an hour and 11 minutes. If I were to do this on a Saturday afternoon, this would be 2.5 hours to do this. I would just lean into it. I would really try to enjoy doing this, and it would take me a lot longer to do. But in the end, you're going to end up with something that's very similar to this. Oh, look at that. That's beautiful. Oh, I really like that. I like these three right there in a row. 1, 2, 3. Those look fantastic. Every time I say something like that, my wife is like, why are you always tooting your own horn? I'm like, I'm not necessarily trying to toot my own horn. I just think it looks good. I think it looks great. Okay. We've kind of gotten away from let's see, I'm back. Okay, looks, you're Irish looks good. Looks so good. I think you should go with what works when it works, right? Knocking it out of the park like Shohei Ohtani. There we go. That's what we're doing tonight. That little bit. No. We're going to come up. We're going to do some more up here, right? Really, I was waiting. Oh, that's too much. That's too much paint. I don't want that much paint. Come on, a little bit of blue up here. That's a better amount. That's a much better amount. Okay. What do we need to do? I'm going to darken this a little bit more right here. I want this to stand out just a little bit more. Okay. And I'm going to do it. I'm doing the same thing. I'm just basically doing another layer onto here. And I'm going to let this run way up here before I get all the way to just water. There we go. So now there definitely looks like there's a fold in that, and now it comes, you can't even see it, a fold, and then it comes back out this way, just really, really gently out here. Remember I said I'm trying to make this look almost gossamer up here. Just really, really light, but we got that bend in there. And let's see, what else do I need to do? I need to, come on. This fold right here definitely needs to be darker. So I don't want to go one layer in dark. Right? I'm going to match the layer count with what's behind it. I'm going to try to match the layer count with what's behind it. We'll just make this one darker and darker. Now all of a sudden that looks like that's folded up right there. Shook. Just like that. And if we did it right, I think I should put that on a shirt. And if we did this right, it would look like blah, 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 blah. There we go. I'm going to make that come out like that a little bit. And I don't want to lose this light area between these two. I'm very I want to be very deliberate about not losing that light area. Dark next to light, dark next to light. I want dark next to light. Right? Dark next to light. And then I need a little bit more color up here. This can come out. I don't know, it's going to go something like this. A little bit more of this color. Come on, come on, come on. So this is where I start to go, oh, it's starting to look good. And then I start to press a little bit. And sometimes my anxiousness gets ahead of me a little bit. But we're not going to do that this time. We're going to continue with a little go slow. And we're going to make sure that this comes out looking wonderful. It's going to look wonderful when we're done with it. I do want to have a little bit more color right down here. This has got to be a little darker down here. And it's going to make it hard because this is going to have to be a very short blend on that side. And it can be a bit longer on this side. Right? On the top of the petal side, this can go out quite a bit longer. Yeah, now I've got this big bend out here. I like that. I like that. All right. Let's see. I need more blue. I need a little bit more blue. Come on. Let's get our color going again here. Hopefully, if we do this right, we're going to get a wonderful mix of some reds and some blues in here, right? It's all going to be this purplish color, but there's going to be some reds and some blues, and it's all going to look really nice. At least that's the hope. That was a little too much water. Maybe this is just turned a little bit. So this is one of the things that I've learned as I've done this. Right? Heather, you know, you'll figure this out, or you'll find this out at some point in time. Colors are fine, right? Colors are what help define our painting, but it's the interplay of light and dark that really helps set things apart. And if we can master that interplay of light and dark, so much the better, right? And in order to be able to do that at a fine level like that, you really have to be able to control the water level. So a good brush, for me, it's a pointed round brush, not just a round brush. And then always keep one of these handy so you can maintain, so you'll know exactly what the moisture level there is. Eliza says, you got this floral thing. I'm a master blender. I don't know about that. I try. I love blending. Blending is so fun. Let's see. I think there's a little wrinkle. Yeah, let's see. I'm going to put a little wrinkle. I'm not going to go off of that. Oh, I never showed you guys that, have I? I'm going to go like this. Okay, cool. I'm going to put a little wrinkle right here. Okay, and that's going to kind of match the one on the other side. This is why I'm doing this. And blend it out and get the right water consistency on there. Blend, blend, blend. Oh, it's going to look so nice. All right, now I'm going to be out here till like midnight doing this. You guys are going to be dropping off at 11 o'clock or so, going, it's too late. Why are you? Normally your streams are an hour and a half, and this is 3.5 hours long. And I'm going to go, yeah, but look, it's cool. Look, we got this little spot here. I don't know if I saved them. I used to have books and books and books, and every bit of paper I could get, I would draw rectangles on it, and I would just blend lines. I'd do a variegated wash and just blend it and blend it and blend it. Make a hard edge, make a soft edge. Blend it up against gravity, blend it with gravity, blend it this way, blend it that way, blend it in a triangle, blend it not in a triangle. I used to do so much blending. I just come out into the studio on a random Friday, Saturday night, Sunday night, Tuesday night, it didn't matter. It didn't really matter. I was happy to be coming out and doing it. And just should make that a little brighter in there. Yeah, I don't think that's what I wanted. We'll go with it. I don't think it's quite what I wanted. It's a little dark, but that's okay. All right, if I turn it around this way, all of a sudden this is starting, right? Look at, this is starting to get some interest to it. It's getting there. It's getting there. Another 5 or 6 hours, like I said, we'll be right there. That's all it's going to take. Make sure I get this. I got a line that's a little off here. That's why I'm so good at this. Yeah, because I would just come out and do it because I was fascinated. I was so fascinated with the fact that I could put color on a piece of paper and I could bend it to my will. I could make it look like anything. I could make it the color move this way. I could make the color move that way. I could add more here. I could take some off there. I could do all these things. I could blend two colors together. Oh my, when I figured out I could blend two colors together and make it look like something, like anything, oh, glory day. Right? And it sounds like that's a super simple thing, but it's not really, right? It's one of those things that if I'm gonna start a graded wash, a variegated wash. Let's call it a variegated. So use the appropriate watercolor term, the variegated wash. And let's start with blue on one side and red on the other side, and let's let them meet in the middle, such that you can't tell where one stops and the other one starts. Cool, that's a cool experiment. Let's do that. And I would do that 40 times. Not because I thought I needed to. I just thought it was a cool thing to do. Oh man, I didn't realize I could do this. But then you do it and you're like, wow, that is one of the neatest things. And then you get good at it. You're like, oh, it's even better now. Really, it's even better because I can do it, time and time again. I feel like I'm really kind of geeking out on watercolor practice. But it's true, right? if you can't really master anything until you fall in love with it, right? You gotta fall in love with it. You gotta respect it. You gotta do all those little things that most people aren't gonna do to make themselves really, really good at it. I was totally willing to do it. Completely, utterly willing to do it. All right, I think that was a mistake. I think I shouldn't have put this on. 28 people here. That's fantastic. Everybody, if you would, hit that like button for me if you're here. That would really help me out. If I got an additional 28 likes on my videos, that would really push me up the rankings for YouTube. That would really help me out. I would greatly appreciate that. And if you're here, say hello. I like having a conversation with people I'm painting with. I think it makes it more fun. I'd like to talk to you. And if you're so inclined, I got a Discord channel where we have a few conversations, not that many, but a few conversations over there, all centered around watercolors. If you get stuck in a conversation with Dwayne or I, we might pull you into some fishing conversation, but that's okay. That'll be all right too. Oh, I just have a little water line on here that I don't want, and I can't pull it off at the moment. But that's looking pretty. That's looking pretty nice. I think I need to leave that for a second before I overwork that. Yeah. So say hello. Ask a question. I love answering questions for people. I love talking about watercolors while I'm painting water. Well, if you've been here for more than 10 minutes or so, you've probably heard me just yammering on about watercolors. I do tend to do that. Somebody will yell at me and tell me to change topics, but I do really enjoy painting watercolors. It's one of the things that for a long time in my life brought me joy that I would not have had I not been able to paint. There we go. Oh, that looks even better. A little darker. Ooh, that's a little bit more dramatic there too, isn't it? Look at that. It might be just a little too dark. I might have to hope that lightens just a little bit. And with this paper, I don't want to get a hard line. I saw it forming right there. I just want to take that away as much as I can anyways. Okay, where are we going to next? This is fun. This is fun. Let's see. Thanks, Michael. Loved all of your devices. Okay, cool. That's the hard part knowing when to stop. Yeah, that's true. I said earlier in the broadcast, so anybody who wasn't here, I'm sorry, you're going to hear it again real quick. That all of the department that I used to work at work is peopled with paintings of mine. Right, they're all over the place, and they've started spreading out to the rest of my work. Well, we have a split campus now, and there are people working across town, whole different place, and my team goes out and helps all the people out there when they need it. And I try to go out once a month. I probably go out once every 2 months just to check in on the people that are out there, to let them know I haven't forgotten about them. They're not my folks. I don't manage them. I don't do their work or anything like that. But because it's my team that helps service them and keep them running, I like to touch base with them and let them know that I'm there too. It's not just, you know, the rank and file workers, and I'm there with them, and I want them to get all the support they need. And sometimes they probably feel a little bit more comfortable talking to me than to some of my workers. So I go out there and talk to everybody. Like I said, I try to once a month. I probably get out there once every 2 months in reality. That's okay. That's all well and good. That doesn't matter. Well, last time I was out there, a woman came up to me and she went, "Hey, I saw that picture that you put on Michelle's desk." And Michelle is a friend of mine, and she had worked with me years in the past and has a position out at this remote site. And I wanted her to have a painting at her desk, you know, because I feel bad for everybody who has to work out there at this remote site away from everybody else and whatnot. And I thought she would appreciate it. So without saying it, she wasn't there one day. I just dropped this picture on her desk, and I said, "Hey, this is from me. Enjoy it." And she posted it, of course. And the next time I went out there, a relatively new employee came up to me, and she obviously didn't know that I paint. Everybody else knows I paint. And she came up to me. She goes, "Oh my God." She goes, "Is that, everybody said that's you that painted that. Is that really you?" Well, yeah, it was me. No one who painted it. She goes, "Oh my God." She goes, "I used to work at, I don't even remember the place, such and such a place in the art department of this place." And she goes, "Oh my God." She goes, "We used to display so much art that was so much worse than that." She goes, "You're just so good." So anyways, that's not really the point of the story. The point of the story is I have somebody on my team going out there tomorrow to help them out. So I sent a picture out to be delivered to her tomorrow. I told her, I said, you're gonna get a surprise package in the mail tomorrow, or a surprise delivery tomorrow. So I appreciate the fact that you went out of your way to tell me how much you liked that artwork, and this is just something that you could put on your desk or whatever. She's like, all caps, "Oh my God." I love that so much. I'm like, listen, I paint this, and it kind of collects here, you know, at the studio. It does a little bit. I would like for it to be in the hands of people who appreciate it. So if you thought the other one was nice, take this and have some fun with it. So I'm hoping that tomorrow I get an email or a message or something that says, "Thank you, I love this. I love what you sent out to me." That's going to do my heart good to know that a painting that I've done has found its way into the hands of somebody who's going to appreciate it. Isn't that green? Wait. Isn't that green? Liza, what are we talking about? It isn't what green? Did I paint something that was supposed to be green that's not green? Look at this. Oh, the depth of this one up here, I think, is really looking rather nice. Did y'all see how nice this looks? We all want to be appreciated. That's true. I just think it, I don't even, and I'm not worried at all about the painting of, I think that looks so killer. Look, you can see it's got this warp. You can see it's got some dimension to it. That's what I'm trying to say. That's the best part of it, is it's got some dimension. It looks three-dimensional when you look at it. Oh, it's so nice. It's so nice. Now I gotta work on this one, which I'm not wild about right now. I'm trying to take my cue from that reference photo. I'm not exactly sure how this is going to work out. It's going to go just like this. I knew I needed to stop a moment ago because it definitely was getting too worked, and I don't want it to be too worked. Okay, Heather, thank you for stopping by. I understand you got to go to bed. I don't know where you're at, but I do understand it gets late in other parts of the country or other parts of the world, and hopefully you can come back another time and tell us how your watercolor journey is going, and good luck with the photography and whatnot. And hopefully, like I said, hopefully we'll see you back here another time. Thank you for stopping by, and thank you for participating and asking questions. I love that. Let's see, I'm going to make this just a little dark right up here. Right up here. I'm going to whisper to myself as I do this, just right up here. I'll start singing little songs or whatnot. Does that look like that's got some dimension to it? I guess some. Not nearly as cool as these other ones. We'll fix it. We'll fix it. Let's see what we can do here. Let's see what we can do here to fix this. Come on, turquoise. I don't think I've ever used this much turquoise before. It's a lovely. See a little bit more of this blue in here. This one hasn't come out yet, hasn't popped out yet, so we can make this a little bit darker underneath here. I was telling Tom before we get started with this whole show. Today is my Friday. A lot of people took, a lot of people got Monday off. A lot of people took Tuesday off, or people took last Friday off. Well, I went, everybody else is taking those days off. Somebody needs to, be at work to do some work. So I'll work those days when everybody else is going to take off, and I'll just take off the rest of this week. So for me, this is my Friday. So we might be here until 10 or 11 o'clock. No, we're not going to be here that long. We're not going to be here quite that long. But I'm not in a hurry because I got to go to bed tonight. I took a little nap when I got home, so I'm feeling rested. I am good to go for right now. I'm going to paint a little bit of yellow in here. This is very pale. I'm going to paint most of this as that color. Happy Friday, thank you. This is my Friday. Tomorrow morning I'm going to get up early-ish. I mean, early for me is early. It's too early for everybody else. I haven't been able to actually sleep in for 10 years, so I get up very early. Anyways, my body just tells me it's time to get up. And I'm going to get up tomorrow, and I'm going to make my way out to the lake and do a little fishing, and hopefully there will be nobody there but me. I mean, if somebody else shows up, that's fine. I'm happy to share the lake, but it's not all that often that it's just me out there fishing away, so that'll be fun. And then I do have some work to do because I'm dismantling my greenhouse because I can utilize the structure to expand my chicken coop. And I'm getting a couple of new chickens. Put an order in for a couple of new chickens, and that sounds so terrible. I don't like to say it that way. But I got some new chickens coming, and I want to make a little room for them. I'm getting 2 Brahmas, big girls. Big, beautiful chickens. I'm very much looking forward to getting them in the flock. We'll see how they do. They'll fit in quite nicely. I have no doubt. Liza, do you want to talk about turquoise? You said turquoise is an interesting color, and it is. Is there something we should be talking about on turquoise? Is there something, a question you have about turquoise that we can kind of answer? Do we need to do a turquoise demo? Oh, look at that. Look at that bit of... Oh, this is lovely. This is stem. This stem, which I never thought was going to be much to this whole painting. This might be my favorite part of the whole painting. Might be my favorite part. We live by a small cemetery, but the mayor wants it mowed every day. Holy cow, we can't sleep in there because they mow and weed whack starting at 7. I have not been able to sleep in past 5:30 for forever. Honestly, I can't remember the last time I slept past 5:30. Whether I'm working or whether I'm not working, I would love to sleep in till 7. It just isn't going to happen. It just is not going to happen. 7 would be like a dream. All right, now, so I'm going to cheat. So we cheated last week. I'm going to cheat again this week. I'm going to get my... Oops, you can't see it. I thought you could see it. I'm going to get my colored pencils out here. Right? And I have to figure out what color is what. Let's do a little bit of this. And I'm going to cheat here. Because this is a very tough area to get in with a paintbrush, especially a small paintbrush. So I'm going to do a little bit of this with this colored pencil. And then as we move out further, come on, I got this other one. It gets a little lighter as we get towards the end out here. I'm going to put just a little bit of color out here like this. Okay, cool. Let's see. 5:30 has been my wake-up time for 30 years. Yeah. Mine too, whether I wanted to be or not. Like this morning, my body automatically said, hey, it's 4:30. You ought to be up. And so at 4:30 this morning, I got up and started a cup of coffee. I think last Saturday, my body said, do you know it's 3:30 in the morning? I think 3:30 would be a good time for you to wake up. And so I got up at 3:30. And I'm going to assume, sometimes I don't fall asleep until 5 a.m. Holy cow. Sometimes I have a hard time staying awake past 5 p.m. I just chalk it up to getting a little bit older and my body just changing a little bit. And I try not to worry about it because I know that if I do start to worry about it, I'm going to make the situation worse. And I don't want to make the situation any worse. So I just get up and then I'll find a way to rest during the day. Somehow, I'll find a way to rest. I hope you don't have a nutty man with a cemetery session. Tracy is here. Hello, Tracy. Welcome. Welcome. I'm glad you can make it. We're closing in on the end here, but you can see it's starting to look good. It's getting there. Liza told me I needed to spend like an hour longer on it, and then I'd probably be okay. So we're going to push on through. Okay, she didn't really say that. I made that up. Tracy, I'm glad you could make it. It's been a long time. I hope the new job is working out for you. I really hope the new job is working out for you. I mean, I'm going to have to call everybody up and say, hey, you need to let Tracy have a little time to come to the stream here. And I'm sure that they'll acquiesce and say, yes, Mr. Salmon, that'd be fine. I'm sure it will go over just like that. Okay, I think that helped a little bit here. I think this helped a little bit. If I could just make that a little dark, right up through there. Oh, I think that's going to do it. Now it looks like it bends down right there a little bit. I think that helped a lot. I really do. I really do. Yes. That's better. That's better. Okay, we got a couple of things to do here, and we're so close. We're so close. I'm all excited. You're like, yes, it's getting there, and it looks good. Finally, two together. Come on, that's not the color I want. Let's add Gamboge in there. Better, that's better. Darker on this side, right? Darker on the bottom side here. You can come down here to where it joins. And then we'll blend it up a little bit and let it get lighter as it goes up. We'll put some of a mix of yellow and orange up here. I did an amazing job. Thank you. Really busy. Okay. I thought you got a new position or something. And Liza's saying I need to do more florals. Really? Just today I was going, I need to do more birds. But I guess, I will say this is turning out better than I thought it was going to turn out. When I started thinking about it, I was like, but I always get I'm always like, oh no. I just have the feeling that I don't do florals well. Whether that's true or not, right, is not indicative of anything. It's just the feeling that I get, and I'm like, But, if you think this is going well, maybe we'll work in a few more florals. I'm not opposed to it. Let's see if we can't get a little bit of some color in here. I'm going to pull this one way kind of up. A little bit more green in there. Yes. Let's pull this way up into there. Oh, yes. Come on, ochre. This to be a little more ochre-y on that side. This doesn't match, I guess, in much of any sense, does it? This doesn't match the reference photo over there. Look at my stem. Looks totally different from their stem. Totally different. That's okay. I think mine looks pretty good. but I'm a little biased. I'm going to try to, now this is where I should not do this. I'm going to try to do another layer and darken a little bit more down here. Give me just a touch more of this blue. I want this super dark down here. I probably, I'm going to do this in like one layer, and I probably should do this in 2 or 3 layers, but we'll figure it out. It'll work out. It'll all work out. This is another area where, you know, if you're doing it on a Saturday afternoon or something, you can take some extra time to do this. You're doing it on a live stream late at night, and you're likely to have people start nodding off because it's literally like watching paint dry. All right, this one is all really tight in there. It hasn't started to come out yet, and so that's a lot darker over there. Yeah, you're still here. Still here. Still here. Liza says mine is better. Sure says it's beautiful. Thank you. Liza, I love my iris that are currently in bloom. I just wish they would stay longer. Yeah. Yep. I think that's the problem with all flowers, though, isn't it? Or most flowers, is they don't quite stay. They don't stay quite long enough. We'd like them to stay another month or 2. In fact, you know what? We'll cancel winter and have some extra flowerage. I think that would work for me. Would totally work for me. All right. Let's see. What else do I need to do here? Is there much of anything else? I need to get that little tiny brush here real quick. Little tiny brush. Get a little tiny bit of paint on it. Come to a point. I want there to be just a little indentation up here. Let's see if I can do this. Pull that down. I don't know that that's exactly what I wanted, but that's okay. I think it's okay. Now a little purple outline. Whoa, that's a lot of purple outline. Right there, that should help differentiate this flower from what's behind it, because I don't want to take away what's behind it. I really don't want to take away what's behind it, so I'll make what's in front a little stronger. And I'm just going to scrumble that line a little bit there. Cool. Now there's an edge. There's a hard edge there, and you can imagine that rolling right over. Boop. It needed that little something. A little something there. I tried to do just that over here, and it didn't quite work, but we're going to do it right here. Same thing. I'm going to pull this color out. I just want that little line right there. That's all I want. I just want that little line. Now that petal just goes right on over. Okay, I really like this petal. I love all this stuff down here, and I wanted to make this really light and gossamer, and I think I've got most of that. think I've got it. I know this is the part where I shouldn't do this. I should not do this at all. I should stop while I'm ahead. Just not exactly certain I can do that. All right, we've got that. Helps bring this forward and push that little bit back. That hard. I'm just trying to look to see where I can make some fine adjustments, which are really going to make this pop, or hopefully really make this pop. If I can find a few of these little places, let's put them in here. All right, this has got just a touch more blue in it. Up here, a little darker around it. Should make this in front push forward. Should push this whole thing forward a little bit. My concern is that that's going to be too dark and it's going to make this too pale. Maybe. I don't know. That's part of this adjustment that we need to look at a little bit. I'm going to put another little dark spot right in here. And just blend. I do have to work a little quickly because I really don't want a hard edge. Turquoise can give you just a touch of a hard edge pretty quickly. I'd like to not get that. The good thing is if you do get a little bit of a hard edge, you can fix it with just a little bit more color around it. Should fix it without too much issue. Come on, my paint's all dried up. I don't want my paint to dry up. Come on. Let's keep some wet paint here. And I do believe I've crossed over into the fiddling stage. And not fiddling like diddle-diddle-diddle. Not fiddling like that. Fiddling is in, do I need to do a bit more? Or am I at a good spot? Wait, thank you, Michael. It was a lot of fun. You're going? That means Liza's out of here. Okay. Cool. I get it. I get it. Thank you for joining, Liza. Really enjoyed having you. Thank you for being here. All right, we got a little spot there. And you know what? This back here, this turned a little red. I want to make this a little bluer back here. I don't want it totally blue. That might be too blue. But that needs to be a little bit bluer back here. And now this is where I think I'm really gonna need to pull myself in, because I can see I could get easily too deep into this. Let's pull that up just a little bit. Okay, cool. I like that better. I actually do like that better. With a little extra touch of color in here. I think that adds a bit there. And I think before I get too far into this, I'm gonna stop. I think I am just fiddling at the moment. I don't want to fiddle too much and overwork everything, and I think I'm kind of getting close to that, and I don't want to get too close to that. Okay, cool. So I'm going to do this. Whoop, 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 whoop. I'm going to sign my name right here. and call that good. So this is my challenge painting. This was an iris. The good, the bad, the not so good, the not so bad. Susie, if you gotta go, I understand. There are really 40 people watching. It says there are 40 people on my end. That's unbelievable. So let's do a little soaring heights and abject disasters before we go. Talk about the good and the bad. I love this whole petal. I think this turned out fantastically. I love that. I actually like this. I think I got a little crazy with the color as it came over here. I might be able to rectify some of that if I could just blend a little bit of that down. There's just a little bit of a hard edge I don't like there, but I like that. I like that this is back here, and it helps support this part of the petal. It pushes that whole thing forward and anchors that back portion down there. And quite honestly, I didn't expect that this portion would turn out so nice. But I love the way that turned out. I think it's fantastic. The interplay of a little bit of brown in here, right? Some yellows in there to add a little lightness, and then the green, the mix of the greens down here in the dark, a little darker area, right? Doesn't necessarily match that. The general shape is there. It doesn't match that, and I don't think that matters one bit. What does matter is that when you look at it, these lines, right? This line and that line are going to pull your eyes right up to this petal right here. Got kind of a circular shape. There are a few lines, but then there are lines that bring it back around. So your eye is going to naturally work up in this direction, right? So even sitting here, there's some interest to it. I'm totally excited about this. This is another one that's going to go straight up on the wall in my office. I'm really happy with this one. And with that, I'm going to say thank you all for joining. Thank you all for joining in. Whoever the 42 people who are here, thank you all for joining me and helping to make my Wednesday so enjoyable. I thoroughly had a great time. Next week, join me back here, 7 o'clock on a Wednesday night, Pacific time, whatever time that is in your local time zone. I know it gets late back east or somewhere around the world. I hope you can join me next week, 7 o'clock, when we will do something else equally as amazing. Until then, I hope you all have a great rest of your day. Hope you have a great rest of your week, and I hope you're able to join me again next week. See you all next time. Bye-bye.